What's up, Buffs family? Let's look at some Texas Tech and Buffs highlights while we get into this video here. Welcome to the Love and Liberty analysis of the Buffs at the Red Raiders. This game is shaping up to be an absolute barn burner, so grab your favorite munchies, settle in, and let's get right into it. Alright, let's set the stage. The 20th ranked Colorado Buffaloes are rolling into Lubbock with a 6-2 record, fresh off a bye week and hungry to solidify their spot in the Big 12 championship race. On the flip side, the Texas Tech Red Raiders are riding high after a nail-biting 23-22 upset over who was last week number 10 ranked Iowa State. Both teams have everything to play for, and this game could be a turning point in both of their seasons. All right, I'm gonna let these highlights finish playing here, and then we're gonna get into some offensive stats. If Travis has a good game on both sides of the ball, I just don't see how anybody stops the Buffs. Love it. And of course, LeJohntay. Texas Tech's secondary is particularly vulnerable to getting slashed by our receivers. What we really need is this man right here, Mr. Augustave, to put in work. Because if the Buffs can run the ball, you already know. All right, I think we've got one more run here by Augustave. Take a look at. And we're going to talk about his stats later, but that's the type of running that we're going to want to see. All right. Let's compare offensive stats. Let's talk offense. Texas Tech boasts a high-powered attack. They're averaging 36.44 points per game and 446.9 total yards. They've been lighting up the scoreboard thanks largely to their balanced approach. Their running back, Tahj is a beast, averaging 5.1 yards per carry, with 10 TDs and 0 fumbles. Their quarterback, Baron Morton, isn't too shabby either. He's got 19 passing TDs and a respectable 136.1 QB rating. Not so fast. Colorado isn't just sitting back here. They're putting up 31.38 points per game and 404.5 total yards. Their passing game, as we all know, is electric, averaging 323.88 yards through the air. Shedeur is surgical, completing 73.3% of his passes with 21 touchdowns and a stellar 165 QB rating. We can never forget our dual-threat superstar Heisman favorite, Travis Hunter, who's making waves equally on both sides of the ball. All right, let's take a look at the defense. Defense wins championships, right? Colorado's defense is allowing just 22 points per game. 13 points fewer than Texas Tech, who are giving up 34.44 points. The Buffs' D is stingy, allowing only 364.6 yards per game, and they've racked up 26 sacks and 51 tackles for loss. Their pass defense is particularly strong, giving up just 209.25 passing yards per game. Texas Tech, on the other hand, they've struggled defensively, especially against the pass, allowing a whopping 307.22 passing yards per game. They've got injuries plaguing their defensive line and secondary right now, so they could be in for a very long day trying to contain Shedeur and Colorado's aerial assault this Saturday. All right, let's look at some of our key players here. Of course, the maestro himself. If you give Shedeur time in the pocket, he's going to pick apart any defense. The 73.3% completion rate is absurd. The 24 TDs includes 3 rushing TDs. And we all know he could get more if he needed to, but we want him to stay safe. But Shedeur he's legendary. 6 interceptions, several of those, you guys that have watched every game know that they were off weird tips and some things like that. A couple of them were on him, a few of them were fluky. And a 165 QB rating. Just insane. We got Baron Morton for Texas Tech's got a 62% completion rate, 20 TDs, 5 interceptions, and a respectable QB rating of 136.1. All right, let's talk about the man who does it all. 60 receptions, 757 yards, 8 TDs, and he's a lockdown corner with 2 interceptions. We could go on about Travis, but again, you already know. I got Isaiah Augustov is averaging 4.3 yards per carry, which is very impressive. He just hasn't played a ton this year, especially in the beginning of the year. 3 TDs, which is, that's the lack of TDs, and 1 fumble. Also, he got in, I think it was maybe the Nebraska game, had a fumble. He got set down for a little while. The last few games, he's looked really good. He's going to have an amazing game. Not an amazing game. He's going to have a good game for CU to do what they need to do against Texas Tech. All right. Let's talk about Texas Tech. Get my screen back here. We got Tahj Brooks, Texas Tech's key producer. He's 5'10" and a stout 230 pounds. He's the engine of their offense, and if he gets rolling, if he starts slashing or plowing through our defense, he can control the game's tempo. Let's see if Tyler Brown has anything to say about Tahj Brooks playing nose tackle. As we hear, Tyler might be yet another CU player playing both ways, potentially this week. And then we got Jacob Rodriguez, definitely the leader on their defense, with 83 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 pass deflections, and 3 forced fumbles. Kind of like a Swiss Army knife for them. He's going to need a huge game to slow down the Buffs offense. All right, let's talk about some wide receivers. For the Buffs, of course, Travis Hunter, LeJohntay, Will Shepherd, Jimmy Horn. You guys see the numbers. They're kind of in order. We got Travis with 60 receptions, LeJohntay 39, Will 27, Jimmy 33. Travis with 757 yards, LeJohntay 501 yards, Will Shepherd 390 yards, Jimmy Horn 434 yards. 8 TDs for Travis, 7 for LeJohntay, 3 for Will Shepherd, and 1 for Jimmy Horn. Let's look at Texas Tech's receivers. All right, we got Mr. Josh Kelly, who's number 3. I didn't put their numbers up here, but Josh Kelly's number 3. We got Caleb Douglas, number 5. Coy Eakin, number 8. And Jalen Conyers, number 12. Let's compare what they're doing individually with our receivers a little bit. Let's look at their number 1 guy, Josh Kelly. 68 receptions, 736 yards. Pretty similar to Travis's numbers at receiver. We got Douglas, 44 receptions for 594 yards. LeJohntay, 39, 501. Their third guy, 28 receptions, 427, and 6 TDs. Will's got 27 receptions, 390, and 3 TDs. But this is where we start to separate. Look at Jimmy Horn compared to their next guy. Their next guy's got 15 receptions, 147 with 2 TDs, and then Jimmy, 33 receptions, 434 yards with 1 TD. We got to get Jimmy some more touchdowns this week for sure. But those are the receivers, guys, for both teams, how they've been matching up through the season. And before we look at common opponents, let's hold off on that for a second. Let's look at the last 5 games for each team to take a look at momentum. Momentum is a funny thing in football. Colorado has won 4 of their last 5 games, including dominant performances against Arizona and Cincinnati. They're fresh off a bye week, which means extra time for the Buffs to prepare and heal up. So we see the last 5 games here: Cincinnati, Arizona, Kansas State, heartbreaker. Again, Travis, probably the difference in that. UCF and Baylor. I mean, just imagine if the Kansas State game went the other way. It doesn't matter. We're in a great position. All right, let's look at Texas Tech's last 5 games. Here we go. And they've been inconsistent. They've had some close wins, some tough losses, notably a 35-59 blowout against Baylor where they lost. Their injuries are piling up, especially on their defense, and that could be a significant factor. Injury is never a good thing. I started to get excited there for a second, but I got to check myself. I don't want anybody to get injured. I want our best team to beat anybody else's best team. The greedy part of me just wants the Buffs to win, but we want everybody to be healthy. And so best wishes for the Texas Tech guys this week who are questionable. There's a bunch of them. I don't know if we have anybody who's questionable. We have the Dayon Hayes injury, some other injuries we know about, but we don't have any surprise injuries this week that we kind of weren't expecting. Let's also not overlook the home field advantage. Jones AT&T Stadium can get loud, not like Nebraska, but still loud. And the Red Raiders fans are known for their, let's say, creative enthusiasm. Tortillas, anyone? Okay, now let's look at how they have performed against common opponents, because I think that says a lot. Let's take a look. To that slide. Big Dog Chico, what up with you? Avanti. We're going to get into the chat. I'm just going to get through this analysis because we're almost done. I'm going to get to my score prediction, and then we'll see if anybody wants to hang out and chat. But let's talk about the common opponents, because I think, this tells one of the strongest stories of all the stats that we could look at. Cincinnati, Colorado won 34-23, while Texas Tech edged them out 44-41. Arizona, Colorado dominated 34-7. Whereas Texas Tech won a much closer 28-22. Baylor, Colorado won that thrilling overtime 38-31. Texas Tech got beat by Baylor 59-35, y'all. The Buffs have clearly performed better against mutual opponents, especially on defense. This is a telling story to me. The Buffs beat Cincy by 8 more than Texas Tech. They beat Arizona by 21 more than Texas Tech. And they beat Baylor, who annihilated Texas Tech by 24 points. So a 31-point differential between CU and Texas Tech there against Baylor. That's huge. I'm about to get to my score prediction, but I want to say on this graphic alone, I'm tempted to raise my margin of victory for CU. But I think there could be some other factors that come into play, so we'll get to that shortly. For the betting enthusiasts out there, the odds have Colorado favored by only 3.5 points, with an over-under at 62.5. The majority of bettors are leaning towards Colorado to cover the spread, and given the data, that seems like a solid pick. But hey, this is college football, where any given Saturday, anything could happen. Okay, it is officially prediction time. After crunching the numbers, analyzing all the stats, and considering the intangibles, here's how I see it. Colorado, 38. Texas Tech, 28. I believe that the Buffs' explosive passing game and improving defense are just going to be too much for this banged-up Texas Tech squad. I predict Shedeur is going to have a field day against Texas Tech secondary, and while Tahj Brooks is going to put up solid numbers, it's not going to be enough to keep pace with the Buffs. Drawing back to that common opponents comparison, I'm tempted to give Texas Tech less points and the Buffs more, but this will be the emotional high of the season for both teams so far. Colorado has still shown vulnerability to giving up big plays from time to time, and Texas Tech has the weapons and the coaching ability to capitalize on any mistakes our still newly formed team makes. For this reason, give me the Buffs by 10, covering the 3.5-point spread, and give me 66 total points to take the over on that 62.5. But remember, this is just one Boulder analyst's probably biased take. I would love to hear what you guys think in the chat. Who do you think is going to come out on top? Do you agree with my prediction? Or do you see an upset brewing in Lubbock? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming previews and predictions. We got a lot more exciting content coming your way, especially as we get closer to the playoffs. We might do a game watch party from on top of Sugarloaf Mountain here in Boulder this Saturday, looking out over the city where we can scream our Buff-loving hearts out on top of the mountain. It's public land. It's beautiful. We haven't totally committed to doing that yet. Let me know in the comments if that's something you guys would care about or be interested in, doing a watch party from the top of the mountain. Fair warning, I get a little bit hyped during the games. Just a little. You guys will see if you see. And of course, we're going to be back with another game analysis and score prediction video next week for the Colorado-Utah game. In addition, we'll also be live streaming the Pearl Street Stampede Friday night pep rally on Pearl Street next Friday, and live streaming the Buff Walk as the players enter the stadium next Saturday. And we will hopefully be bringing you the pregame warm-ups from inside the stadium before kickoff. So subscribe and hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss any of that. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Love and Liberty pregame analysis for Colorado versus Texas Tech. That's the video, friends and Buffs Nation. But now we're going to catch up with those of you watching live in the chat, hang out for a little bit, see what your initial thoughts are and anything you want to talk Buffs or Boulder, baby. Again, for those of you who just came for the analysis, enjoy the game this weekend, and we will see you next time. Can't get the pinky in there. There we go. Oh, we'll get it. All right. See you next time for some more Buffs football action. All right, let's see what the chat has to say this evening. Avanti says a watch party would be awesome. All right, and prediction is Colorado by 2 possessions. Don't have specific numbers. I guess we're on the same page. Because it could be 10, it could be 14. A win is a dub is all we want. But again, let me put up that. I'm going to put up that common opponents graphic again, because for me, when I realized this going through the stats, this was, I'd say, like a revelation. I mean, it would be crazy. All right, here we go. It would be crazy for it. This isn't back and forth. You see what I'm saying? Colorado beat every common opponent by significantly more than Texas Tech. And the +7 isn't +7 more than Texas Tech. They beat Baylor by 7. They lost by 24. So this is a 31-point differential in the Baylor game. It's a 21-point differential in the Arizona game. 8-point differential in Cincinnati. Maybe Texas Tech is playing better. That's why I narrowed my prediction down to 10 points. But, you know, more or less, I think the Buffs should get it done easily. Hopefully by 2 possessions. Avanti says, I just do not see how they cover us. Yeah, their secondary is sus. Probably the weak link of their whole team. Although they've got a good bit of interceptions this year, a lot of them have been some pretty bad quarterback throws. Nevertheless, they've got some picks, yet they give up massive yards. So, you know, you guys take that for what you will. And let's go Buffs. We're going to have a short night tonight. I didn't make it to the interviews today because I woke up to damn near a foot of snow out of nowhere. It wasn't really predicted to snow like that last night. And I knew that meant they were going to move the interviews indoors, which means now more access, where I just didn't want to walk all the way down there in the snow and then get turned away and have to walk straight home. So we're going to try to get some interviews, coverage for you guys if the weather's nice. We've got all the live events next week. And yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. Corleone says, I like this setup. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you as always, Corleone. I think you are... I think it's totally attributable to Corleone that we got to catch Cam Silman Craig on the hill on Halloween night. We were doing a live stream walking around Pearl Street for Halloween, and I think it was Corleone in the chat said that Cam and Walt and JB were heading up to the hill, and we got up to the hill, and sure enough, we started hearing some motors, some engines, some exhaust, and then the Chargers started rolling down the strip, and we ran into Cam. That was really cool. So you guys check that video out if you haven't seen it. Avanti says the defense is just such a bad match compared to us. I wouldn't be surprised if we got points on most of our possessions. Yeah, let's see. I wonder how many possessions we will have. 38's a pretty healthy amount of points. It could be higher. They could run it up. It could get crazy. I'd love to see that. If Colorado beats them like 49-14, something like that, after they beat Iowa State, oh boy, the rankings would love that. They would love it. But if they win the game convincingly, it's everything we need to do. We just need the dub. Corleone says they're second to last in pass defense. Okay, I didn't know that, but you see how many yards they give up? Let's look at that stat again. How many yards they're giving up per game. They're giving up 307 passing yards per game to not Shedeur. Now, Texas Tech, they don't have as weak of a schedule as I thought, like Iowa State has had. Here we go, Texas Tech. They lost to Washington State. They beat Arizona. They beat Cincinnati. Just that smashing by Baylor and getting beat by TCU. So, I mean, they've been giving up that many yards against these quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? Could Shedeur put up 500? How many yards y'all think Shedeur could put up? If Shedeur's averaging, let's see what Shedeur's averaging. Shedeur's averaging 323 a game against some much better defenses than Texas Tech. He's already averaging 323 against better defenses. They're already giving up 307 against inferior quarterbacks. Y'all tell me how many passing yards Shedeur and our guys. Let's go. Travis, LeJohntay, Will Shepherd, Jimmy Horn. Can they pad their stats this week? Can we get Jimmy Horn 3 touchdowns? Can we get him at least 2? Come on, we got to get Jimmy 2. He can't be behind. I mean, no disrespect to Will Shepherd, but Jimmy was here last year. We got to get him some more TDs on there, y'all. So yeah, this game, it could get out of control. And I mentioned in my original analysis, I started the video, we just plowed through the analysis. I didn't get into the chat until after we were done. And in that, I mentioned that this is going to be the emotional pinnacle for both of these teams. Texas Tech has all eyes on them. We got Big Noon there. They know everybody's watching. They know that if they upset, hold on, I got to pull in the Big 12 rankings here because I got to show you guys. Something. Because if somehow, now I'm just saying, if we put ourselves in Texas Tech shoes, I don't think, my money is on the Buffs to cover and on the over. I don't think I don't think there's any way Texas Tech can win this game, but I want to show you the Big 12 standings. All right, I gotta pull it up here. Here we go. All right. Put yourself in Texas Tech's shoes. If they beat us, now they're right behind Iowa State. I mean, it creates a cluster at 2 losses. And then we got to go back into those tiebreaker videos. I don't want to do any more tiebreaker videos. So we have to win this game. And so CU knows that. They know what I'm saying. Texas Tech knows. They can disrupt everything, and they will be the talk of college football if they beat Iowa State and CU in back-to-back weeks. Make no mistake about that. And I'm saying we put ourselves in their shoes to say, this is going to be the emotional highlight of their season. It's going to be the emotional highlight of Colorado's season. And for those reasons, I'm keeping my prediction to 10 points. We have shown vulnerability on defense to get slashed by big plays, and they have the offensive weapons to do that. But they do not have the defense to stop us. So if it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, our defense is going to get a couple of stops on them, and our offense is going to score, like Avanti said, damn near every possession. So because of the emotional impact of this game for both teams, I think we're going to get everything Texas Tech has, like we did that first half against Nebraska, and I think the Buffs handle it. But my prediction for the Cincinnati CU game was 42-21. So I got overzealous on that, and I would have done that on this game. And I'm going to say, maybe did I learn my lesson on the Cincinnati game to not get too rose-colored where you don't remember that, it's a game. These are kids. Bad things can still happen. You could have a fluky play that messes up momentum for a quarter or so, and it changes what could be a 4-possession game into a 2-possession game. So I'm checking in at 10 points. Corleone says 450 yards for Shedeur, 5 TDs, 2 to Jimmy, 1 to Tay, 2 to Hunter. I'm going to screenshot that. I love the specificity of that pick. We'll come back to that. 450 yards, I love that. I think he could do 450 all day. Could he do 5? Could he do 500? I mean, you look at these, who they're playing against. On defense, Texas Tech. Let's see, who is the best quarterback Texas Tech has faced? Fafita? I mean, it's got to be Fafita, right? Unless we say he's not the best because of this year. But then, I mean, the Cincinnati guy is aight. And I'd have to go and look up how many yards. But you just look at the score. Arizona competed with them. Cincinnati competed with them. Close games. Those are probably the 2 best quarterbacks. But then you got Baylor, who just drubbed them. We could say he's maybe the 3rd. So, Corleone says how you feel about Saquon's super hurdle. I'm with Travis. I respect it. It's amazing. But I'm not doing that. You get up in the air, somebody puts that helicopter hit on you. You know what I'm saying? So Saquon, shout out to Saquon getting better with age, like a fine wine, which you don't usually see from running backs. So that was amazing. Avanti says they could also run up points. Texas Tech could run up points on us if our man defense sells, but I don't think they will. That's what I'm saying, Avanti. That's where we've had, if you look at our defensive stats compared to Texas Tech, and I say against better competition for the most part, it looks like we're going to be able to hold them in check. And we could watch see these highlights again just to see Tahj, because when you're afraid of the Tahj run, that's when they hit these passes. They hit these play action passes after Tahj breaks a big run, and they've got the receivers to make the catches, and the quarterback, he gets it to them. They've got, obviously, the ability to shut people down in the red zone, like we just saw. And again, their defense can create pressure enough to force turnovers in the red zone. And we got Tahj. There's his hurdle. That's what I wanted to show. We talk about Saquon. There's the Tahj hurdle. And then next play action, and they score right after that Tahj play. So we can't let them do any of that. Or keep it in check. If we stay within our averages, let me hit that again. If we stay within our defensive stats with them, we'll be all right. Corleone says if they're trying to run the ball, I would just keep Cam down more of a linebacker, strong safety, and on spy with the H-back because he played downhill. Yeah, I want to put together, when I was just looking at these team highlights, there are so many of Cam. We need to just do a Cam highlight reel for the season. He is a, no Halloween pun intended, he is a menace. Cam is a menace on defense. D's been looking good. I'm calling 3+ sacks. That would be beautiful. Let's demoralize them. We start getting 3 sacks, they're going to get demoralized and give up. Especially if Tyler Brown's in there at nose guard, and him and Shedeur and Nakai, Levante are just putting the whop on Tahj. I mean, he's a big boy, 5'10", 230. But it doesn't matter who you are, how big you are. You have linebackers the same size, bigger, linemen that are bigger, grinding you down. They become one-dimensional. We do have the secondary, where if you become one-dimensional against us, we're going to have pick city. 500 easy if the wide receivers are able to get some room to run. Speed will make a lot of plays over 30 yards. Those yards after the catch, that yak, baby. Let's get that yak up. You try that hurdle and the shark catch him, you're going to know it. Yeah, shark come up just like a shark in the ocean, just lift you up, take a bite, and you won't be the same after. You're not going to be the same man after the shark takes a bite of you while you're trying to hurdle him through the air. All right, y'all, let's end on a high note. Put my prediction back up here. I wanted to make it bigger. I'm trying to rein myself in as a super fan. Let's see. I felt like the last prediction, 42-21, it was respectable. What was it, 35? 34-23. So I predicted 42-21. It was 34-23 last game. This game, we're going 38-28. I hope they blow them out. I hope it's crazy. I hope it's embarrassing for Texas Tech. No offense, Texas Tech. It is not personal. Like some games, it's personal. This game, nothing personal. Your coach, Coach Prime, friends, respect, love to all your players, but we got to get to the Big 12 championship, and you guys are in the way. So we coming. All right, guys. Much love to Buffs Nation. Let's go Buffs.